your book starting off? I think that'd be a really good point for the audience to know who you are and what this book is really about.
Of course. Yeonmi, it's an honor to be here. I love everything that you do. And so my book, An Inconvenient Minority, which is out now, is about the preservation of meritocracy in America and how one minority is critical to preserving meritocracy in America. Asian Americans are traditionally some of the highest achieving groups in America right now, and they have been able to achieve the American dream, even though they're a minority race, because they work hard, they study hard. Their parents didn't come here with any connections, they didn't come here with any privileges, but they did come here in search of freedom, and they found it in America, and they've been able to build the American dream for themselves. But now you have an ideology now, a race ideology. Critical race ideology is what some people call it. And it teaches people that merit is racist. And it teaches people that, that America is a systemically racist country. But how is that possible with Asian Americans? Because we are a minority race and we have been discriminated against, but we are still able to be successful in this country. And I think it proves the whole race ideology wrong. And that's what my book, An Inconvenient Minority, really tries to cover.
Wow, I mean, that's so powerful. I think we're gonna have so much to talk about today. I mean, myself went to Columbia University, and I was literally saying, like, even North Korea wasn't this nuts about this wokeism in these elite institutions. And you covered that in your book, right? I mean, what struck me the most is that all these people talking about equity, right? How would you, differentiate or define equity versus equality?
I would define equity as you want certain racial outcomes. So when somebody says, "Oh, we want equitable treatment of Black people in the admissions process," that doesn't mean we want to admit people based on their merit. It means we want to admit enough Black Americans until they reach 15% of the population, or until they reach 20% of whatever class you're trying to sculpt. It's basically race communism. That's what it is, because it's saying we need to force certain races into these positions, even though they're not qualified for them. And of course, the consequence of equity is that Asian Americans are unfairly discriminated against, because Asian Americans tend to do well at these universities, like at Harvard University. Asian Americans apply to Harvard with really great grades. They actually are the best grades and the best test scores. But Harvard enforces a penalty against Asian Americans in order to keep Asian Americans below 20% of their college class. And so you're not treating people on the basis of merit anymore. You're treating people on the basis of race for equity.
Wow, what made the Western civilization great was exactly the idea of this meritocracy, right? The self-responsibility, and now it seems like there's a huge attack on it. Do you know where this is coming from? Why suddenly America is choosing this direction that is very communist, artificially trying to create the equal outcome for everyone?
So I think this is a difficult question, difficult explanation, but I will attempt to explain it by showing you, we have had an experiment in America for the past 50 years to try to boost Black and Hispanic achievement in this country, which needs to be boosted. It really does. Over the past 50 years, we've had a welfare state. We've had affirmative action. We've had, we spent a ton of money into our education system, and we still see, lower rates of Black achievement in the public school system. And this, I think, angers educators. It angers people, because they're like, well, why, what are we doing? What's wrong? What's an issue? And the truth is, there are many things that are an issue here, with the Black and Hispanic communities, and with that are in their own culture, but are also a result of policy. But I think people have gotten frustrated with that, and now they want to force Black achievement, even though it's not merited. So I think that's where the push for equity has come through. It's actually come from people getting frustrated with the fact that the achievement gap still remains, and they want to fix it, but they want to do it in a forcible way.
And that's very, I mean, for me, it's very upsetting because, like, I think one of the examples you're using is that the NBA,
Yeah.
vast majority of them are Black players,
Yeah.
right? But they do not artificially try to include the Asians in that group.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Well, it's because Asians have comparatively little social capital or political capital in the United States. We have not learned how to be able to fight for our own rights. A lot of Asian Americans like to come here, and we sort of like to stay quiet. And of course, there are exceptions. You are one. But historically, we've stayed quiet, and because we've stayed quiet, we've allowed colleges like Harvard to discriminate against us. And when now this has become a bigger thing, now that this is not just happening at Harvard, it's not just happening in the Ivy League, it's happening in every gifted, talented program in America right now. People are seeing there's too many Asians, there's too few Black people. We need to forcibly admit more Black people and forcibly cut Asians from the admissions system. And now I think finally Asian Americans are starting to realize, hey, this is not only unfair, this is something that if it allows to happen, it's just going to it's actually just going to destroy us. So we need to stand up for our rights, and we need to stand up for the American dream of treating people on the basis of merit.
So what wasn't very clear to me when I was reading the book is that, so you in the Thomas High School, right, in that very famous #1 high school in America, is a
Yeah.
very vigorous test to get in.
Thomas
And
Jefferson, yes.
right, and you said like over 70% are Asians in that school,
Yeah.
and because they need to meet the racial quota, they are only going after, I mean, Asians or the white people too, like who they are like eliminating, make more spots for the people who are not quite meeting their standards.
Yeah, they're going after the Asians
Only
specifically.
Asians?
It's funny because the new proposal, what happened was, and this was exactly as expected, the new proposal raised the number of Black people, raised the number of Hispanic people, raised the number of white people, and who got cut out? Half of the Asians.
Why white people?
Because I think when elite progressives in America right now are content sort of letting giving handouts to Black and Hispanic people, but when it comes to Asian people, they start to view Asian people as their competition. That's why. That's their competition. Because Asian people are given equal opportunity, are performing higher and at a higher rate. So now you have these elite white progressives who are sort of okay with giving out more spots to Black and Hispanic people as long as it also helps them. But the result of that is they want to cut out Asian people.
This is what like made me really outraged. Where to the point, this white progressive people are saying in the name of equality, in the name of whatever inclusivity, I did not know they were viewing us as a competitor.
Yeah.
I literally in the past was thinking, okay, these people are so innocent or naive they just really just heartbroken about the inequality with the Black people or like Hispanic people. So they are like really trying to fix this problem, not trying to make themselves more like getting them more positions like that.
Right.
So this is like shocking truth for me. I did not know. So what other sectors are like where Asians became very inconvenient for the majority now? Only other than this academic area. Is there any other areas?
Well, I'm glad my book's title is catching on.
Yeah, it is. Very good one.
I appreciate it. Okay, well, so This ideology,
Mm-hmm.
critical race theory, it started at Harvard Law School. It went on. Derek Bell, Roberto Unger, Kimberly Crenshaw, they all made this theory. They transferred it to all of the other Ivy Leagues, who transferred it to their universities, which transferred it into the public schools. And now you see a race ideology that wants to wipe out Asian American achievement in favor of other races everywhere. And now you see it in corporations too. I wrote in my book,
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 4, Diversity and Exclusion. I wrote in my book about Google and Facebook. You know, it's interesting because Facebook, Google and Facebook's software engineers are 90% Asian.
What?
90%. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
90%. And you know
Mm-hmm.
why? You know why? It's not because they want to hire more Asians. It's because they cannot find the qualified talent among the other races. So they have to hire Asians. In fact, they import people from China and from India to be able to do their high quality Google search and Facebook algorithms. And what happens is, if you remove like a marketing manager at Google or Facebook, okay, it's maybe it'll harm them a little bit, but it's not a big deal. If you remove a software engineer from Google and Facebook, your entire business is ruined. Your entire
Uh-huh.
product is ruined. So they're reliant upon Asian talent. But at every level, above the basic level, Asian American um, Asian American promotion decreases. So there you have 90% software engineers. You have 50% of Google's entire workforce. Then you go down, 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 down until you get to management level, and it's only 20% Asian. And you can say, okay, well, maybe because Asians lack communication skills. Okay, that's fine. But there is something even deeper here going on, because now Google is running a diversity and inclusion program. And in their diversity and inclusion program, they specifically say we need to have equity. And so now they're actually intentionally trying to cut out even more Asians in favor of whites and blacks and Hispanics.